Sure, come in, please.
How you doing, Nekoda?
How's it going, Nino?
Pretty good, not too bad. I'm gonna have Tilly lead this conversation. She's I'm training her right now. She's my Camilla Harris. So in the event I get sick, she's gonna be taking over for the mayor's office.
I was not mentally prepared to
see. Earlier
to
today,
handle
I was actually attacked by a actor against
deranged citizen. Crazy.
That shit.
Yeah, I've got my ears healing. I'm gonna be seeing a specialist tonight, so I want to get back. My ears gonna be healing, but almost got taken out, and so as a backup plan, Tilly's anyways, Tilly, go for it.
So this is Nekoda. Nekoda, what's your rank?
Sergeant at the moment.
And how long have you been a part of the LSPD for?
I believe I was hired December
Enemy of the county,
of 2023.
Okay, and you're a sergeant, right? That's what you said.
Yes, sergeant.
Do you enjoy being a sergeant?
I enjoy being a part of the police department. I don't really associate. I mean, the easiest way to say it is I don't really associate my rank with the enjoyment that I have. I've always tried to do, I guess, the same work that I always do now, as whether I was senior officer, officer, cadet.
What are your duties as a sergeant, Nekoda?
First and foremost, I mean, the biggest difference: look over search warrants, subpoenas, tasks delegated by lieutenants, usually disciplinary action, or people are having disagreements, trying to get everybody into the room together and have a productive conversation instead of letting shit fester. I guess in my normal capacity, I try to be as approachable as possible for everybody. Sometimes probably to a fault, but yeah, I try to be basically like a conduit for everybody if they need help with something. Honestly, it's like the most basic way I could say it, apart from the actual full-on duties of a sergeant.
Okay. So you say you've been with the police department since December, right?
Yes.
How do you feel the LSPD right now can improve as a department?
How can we improve?
Mm-hmm. What do you feel that
she's learning? So exactly. Exactly.
I would say resetting expectations and standards. We've had a lot of bad habits develop over the last 6-7 months that are an unfortunate result of staggered recruitment, a fluctuation of different ideas that never come to fruition, and it's all sort of resulted in what you see right now, which is a mishmash of some really good officers and some really, to put it plainly, shit officers.
Okay. What do you consider a shit officer? What are the behaviors of?
I mean, the easiest way to say it is someone who can't articulate their charges.
Okay.
Which you would think wouldn't be an issue, but I get a lot of people coming to me asking me questions that I get a lot of people coming to me asking me questions that
I wasn't
the person who
expecting
taught
that.
me how to be a police officer, if they heard that, they would probably have their head spin off their body and go into the stratosphere.
Okay. Everyone in this room, whatever you say in this room stays between the four of us. Who would you consider to be a shit officer?
For a very long time, I disagreed with people who went into private rooms and aired people out. instead of doing it to their face. I'm gonna say, I'm sure you've all seen it, but I do not feel comfortable dragging anybody in this room if I haven't formally said it to their face.
Okay.
What I will say is there are a lot of people within LSPD who are in need of retraining and potential just removal from PD and reapplication.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Okay. All right. All right.
I just realized from Tilly's POV, she went from getting fired
Let me articulate
to
my thoughts real
being
quick.
interviewing for chief of the department she was going to get fired from.
You said that you
just
have
realized
in the
that.
past given punishment to others, right?
I mean, I've been delegated to hand out disciplinary action. Yeah.
You were delegated to do it?
I don't know if she got fired. She was
Mostly.
going to.
A lot of the time
Where's
we
Nekodas?
will, if
One
I see
of
something,
Brian Knight's
I'll
proteges.
get information, write a command report, put my opinion in there. My superiors will look it over. If they'll leave a note in there, and then I will usually delegate the punishment myself. I don't really like having other people do my dirty work for me.
Okay. How do you usually handle when you do have to do something along those lines?
I mean, typically I'll pull the person aside, explain the situation from my perspective, hear what they have to say, explain to them why it is a problem, why they need to be disciplined for it, and usually conclude it with how they're going to try to rectify it, and not make the same mistake twice. Like that's the most. I guess some people try to do the finger wag, but I would rather have people make a mistake, realize it, admit it, figure out how not to do it again, than to like just scream in somebody's face that they fucked up.
Okay. Do you agree with your current command structure's disciplinary actions? How they give their disciplinary actions?
Do you mean like how they're delegating DAPs, or?
Sure, delegating DAPs or just the overall delegating DAPs or just how they overall handle punishments.
I think we had a very bad precedent set very early in the PD when it came to disciplinary action, and unless I'm mistaken, only 2 people have. Is it 2? Maybe 2 or 3 people have been fired who were on duty with regularity, and one of them shot 2 cops and actually quit before he could be fired.
Oh Lord.
But I think a lot of people are afraid to be the bad guy as far as delegating punishment, as opposed to seeing it as an opportunity to like, make people better. People are more worried about like, are you going to like me after I give you a DAP, which is, to put it in plain speak, fucking moronic.
How would you change things then? Say you had the ability, say you were like chief of police or something, right? And you had the ability to change the system and incorporate your own system of dapping or giving suspensions or that sort. What would you change in the PD personally?
I agree. I think people are learning, especially with me and Eve at the end. I feel like Tilly's doing really
My
good.
biggest issue is the corrective measures that are taken.
Yeah, she's been attentive to
disciplinary
like
action is given. I can't say this.
She may actually become a really good
but
candidate
more often
in
than
6
not,
months.
It feels like people are disciplined and they're not given guidance in a constructive fashion on how to correct their mistake. It's more like, hey, you fucked up. Here's your DAP. Don't do it again. As opposed to, I'm going to show you, or we're going to talk about how you avoid this in the future.
Okay. What are some of your worst qualities?
I probably think I'm smarter than I actually am.
Give me 3 of your worst qualities.
I'll start with that. Probably think I'm a little bit more intelligent than I am. Definitely I probably should or maybe I'm too soft spoken sometimes when I shouldn't be. That is also something that I definitely find myself doing from time to time.
Okay,
I'm thinking.
you got this.
I would say it's really hard to change my mind sometimes. I can get dug in. But I do try to listen to other people's perspectives. I just usually think they're wrong.
So how do you feel then if say like for example, we brought you in this room and said we want you to be the chief of police, right? You would have a somebody underneath you as well who would be what's the word for it? I always lose it. Assistant? No, not assistant chief of police. What's the
Ass
word
chief.
for it?
Yeah.
Is it ass
Ass
chief?
chief.
Is that right? If you firmly believe that you're right, how do you think you would be able to communicate properly with somebody who is your assistant chief?
I think I would seek someone out who thinks very differently than I do. But being cognizant of the fact that I often probably think I'm more right than I should, I would definitely want people that challenge me. And I would, apart from just going to like the assistant chief, I would try to take on the opinion of other people, potentially in command, or if we had a third high command, that would probably be beneficial as well. So then you have just more than one person to bounce your ideas off of. Because, you know, if two people are telling you you're wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean you are wrong, but it does mean people are seeing things differently, and it's probably
That's a
important to figure
good
out why that
fucking
is.
answer. Damn, Nekoda. Shit.
Okay. All right. So you said you'd look for, if you had an assistant chief, you would look for others as well who could also base their opinions. Is that correct?
I would want someone who felt comfortable challenging me in my thought process. Yeah.
If you are in a constant state of thinking that others are wrong, though, why would you want that?
Because I'm aware that I'm not always as right as I think I am.
Are you willing to change?
I think that if you're taking a position like chief of police, you have to change in some capacity. You have to make some sacrifices in order to steer the ship appropriately, I guess.
I hate doing this. I hate asking this question, but I feel like it's a good. I hate when I get asked this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Okay, so sorry you have to deal with this. Can you give me a time that you have been wrong in your past and have been
Dude,
able
she's better
to
been doing a
overcome
better
that
job than I have in some
and
cases.
been able to find a, I guess, mediation point where you could admit your faults?
Yeah. I think I had a disagreement with a superior about someone who I felt like should be promoted. I didn't understand why this person wasn't being promoted. I thought they were perfect for it, and I thought it was counterproductive to not promote them. I had a very, very long conversation with someone who, like I said, is a superior. They continued to explain why they felt like a promotion wasn't necessary in this, like in the immediate. And after sort of having a very long conversation about it, I finally arrived at the conclusion that they were probably right, and I just wasn't interpreting what they were saying correctly.
That they were probably right?
They were right.
That they were
right.
probably right?
I was wrong. I was
You're
wrong, and
not
they were
wrong
right.
with what you say. You do have a hard time admitting fault, don't you?
I do.
Do you see yourself in a, or would you want to be in a command position at one point?
You mean high command?
High command or command in general? I guess
I
you're
am,
already in command. We'll say
yeah,
high command.
technically I am command right now, but I do know that I would be interested, but I do know it's a completely different world than I'm in right now.
But you would be interested in that?
Yeah, I would.
So kind of going off earlier when I asked you about your faults, what are your
This is good too because I know
positives?
Nekoda
What are your
with my other
positive attributes
characters.
that you think would qualify you for being in a high command position? Give me 3 things.
I'm willing to listen to anybody. I'm pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid to talk to a lot of people. I think that's one thing, and I try to be as objective as humanly possible. Sometimes that's not always the case. Everyone has blinders, but when it comes to serious decision making, I genuinely try to be as objective as possible. And I think you have to be that in order to come to the right decision eventually, especially if you're running a whole department.
How do you how do I ask this? How do you feel about working in a team? Do you prefer to work by yourself or within a team on, like, say, a project or something of the sort?
Mm.
Not even an LSPD, but like throwback to we'll say in your daily life. You know, maybe at work, maybe back when you were in school, things of that sort.
I will say I do like a team environment. I think working closely with a group of people allows you to develop new ideas, I guess is the best way to put it.
Hmm.
And then you don't have to just rely on your own strengths and weaknesses. You can rely on other people's as well.
Ah, can mayors
Okay.
commit crime?
Because when it comes to even just police work, I'm not perfect at everything. And the people who thrive
I mean, you
where I
could.
don't, those are people that
I'm not
I
going to.
come to with questions or advice or even teaching. Because otherwise, if I just hyper focus on the things I'm good at, not really, I'm not really trying to be like well developed. I'm just focusing on what I'm good at and letting the shit that I'm bad at slide.
When I'd ask you the question of what were your positive attributes for like a high command position, I noticed that you had answered a lot of the questions with kind of me answers, like you're good at talking to people, or you're good at this, or you're good at that. What attributes do you have that would be positive for the team that you're working with? Because you'd have many people underneath you if you were in that position. So, what positive attributes would you have that would benefit your team?
Over communication. Because communication within PD has never been a strong suit. It's always been that way. And that is something that I actively try to fight against. And making sure you delegate to everyone and actually see people and speak to them in person. That's, I think, I wouldn't say 100% of the time, but so many aspects of PD problems are self-inflicted from people just not communicating with each other. And it is infuriating.
Mm.
And I not only myself try to communicate, but I would be actively promoting people to communicate with each other instead of siloing off.
How would you promote communication?
Pull people into rooms together and make them talk to each other right in front of me.
Like brother and sister?
Yeah, people are very often afraid of like conflict for some reason in the workplace, even though it's like the best way to have conflict resolution.
Yep.
I've never really understood that. That's something I learned a long time ago. Someone taught me. I've never understood why people are so
Man, I
afraid
wonder
to
who
say
taught
something
him.
to somebody's face. Like, pretending the problem doesn't exist is somehow better than actually addressing it.
Man, I wonder who taught him that.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, Nekoda is
Nino,
hilarious.
do you have any questions for him?
No, these are good. Do you want to go through the list?
Yes. The normal list we ask at the end.
Mhm.
We're gonna ask you some questions, okay? Out of everybody in the LSPD, are we including the BCSO in this, or is it just the LSPD?
Either way, either instead, let's go through like the list and what his thoughts are for either chief or assistant chief.
I'm not gonna go through the list first. I'm gonna get his opinion first,
Hmm.
and then we'll go through.
Okay.
Unless you want me to
No.
go
Do
through
your
the
thing.
list. Who do you think right now in BCSO or the LSPD
You fucking
would
fighting with
be
me right
fit
now?
to be the best chief of LSPD?
I'm doing the fucking list. All right, yo, relax. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
How many names am I giving you?
Let's do. Give me 3.
What if she's gonna try to oust me and take the seat?
Vivian Gray, McNulty, Sky Faye would be my third.
Ooh.
Sky Faye. I don't think I've ever met Sky Faye.
She's shift 3.
What are your thoughts on Barrick? As
Like,
chief. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
There we
I
go.
didn't
I
know.
should have
Okay.
finished.
I wish he had done more. I
Does he do anything? And if so, could you tell us what that is?
don't necessarily feel comfortable saying he does nothing because I am always cognizant of the fact that there are conversations taking place that I am not always privy to. I do know from my personal experience that the unfortunate reality has been, for whatever reason, he's had a lot of difficulty getting
Nino
traction
actually wants
with
to
whatever
know.
his vision for the PD was or is.
Mind you.
I do know that he did have a mare breathing down his neck for a long time, but I also am aware that that mare has been absent for almost a month, and I can tell you firsthand that nothing has really changed. And I think my biggest gripe is that I actually was instructed by a lieutenant to go around to a lot of people in my shift and basically sit them down and have a long form conversation about how they feel the department is running, how they feel high command is doing, how they feel command is doing, their goals and aspirations, and just trying to, see where people are at, basically. I ended up talking to almost 20 officers myself. A lot of people felt like the LSPD has been, is, and will continue to be stagnant with the command, or excuse me, with the high command that was in place. And a lot of people actively made a point of saying that.
Oh my God.
One of the biggest things that was drawing them to potentially want to leave LSPD and join BCSO was the way in which Bones and Cassidy, however you feel about them, the environment that they were cultivating for the people there, and the fact that they were around, and not necessarily like you can go to them for whatever you want, because, still respect the chain of command and whatnot, but they're cultivating an environment where people feel like they matter to them. And, I'm not like a big feelings guy, but if you want to cultivate a healthy environment for the police department, you do need some uniformity and making people feel like they're part of like a larger group is great for morale. And That just has never
That's
felt
a
like it was
good
the case with
answer.
us in LSPD, at least.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw you a couple of names, and I want you to tell me with these names if you think that they would be a good fit for the chief of police and why or why not. We'll start with Ruby.
I think Ruby would be a good fit for Chief. I'll be honest, I have not run into her too much because our shifts are pretty opposite. The only thing I will say is I do know that Barrick and Ruby had a very fractured relationship for the majority, it seems like, of the time they've been in their positions. But I do know oftentimes people would go to her for answers, and more often than not, her response would be, "Well, I have to."
We
speak to the
had a
chief, and I haven't
feeling, but
seen
no
him
one's
in
outright said
X
it.
amount of days.
Nino suspected this for the longest time because
she, as far as I'm aware, she was doing a good job delegating, but I don't know if she was doing
Nino,
more work than she
Nino
initially
also
had signed up
felt
for as assistant
that
chief. I
Barrick
don't know if
tried
she
to
was
sabotage
taking on
Ruby
extra
by saying what he did to
responsibilities,
her
but I think she would
about
be a
Nino.
decent chief of police.
Okay. Okay. Going off of the answers that you already gave, I don't think you answered why. But why do you think that Viv would be a good chief of police?
I think she would be good because she has a very clear vision of where she thinks the problems are within the PD, and she has a very clear action plan of what she wants to do to rectify them. And the most important thing is she literally doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about her, which is, I would say, paramount if you're going to be in that position.
Okay. Okay. What about Jimbo?
I think Jimbo is a great sergeant. I do not think Jimbo would make a great chief of police.
What about an ass chief of foil?
For Jimbo?
Yeah, he was like you had a very strict chief, and you had a Jimbo as the foil to that strictness.
I could see it potentially.
And
I think
want...
it's also. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I think a lot of the times when I get asked questions like this, it's I'm assuming a lot on the part of the person who you're asking me about. Like, I don't even know if Jimbo would want a high command position. Maybe he really does, and I've never talked to him about it.
Yeah.
I do know that Jimbo has this sort of stigma on him that he's like always like off the walls and kind of unorthodox, I guess is the best way to put it. But I will say from personal experience, I've seen him lock in with his policing, and he's very, very good. So,
I want you to keep that thought, kind of table that thought, because we're gonna come back to it momentarily. But Tilly, please continue.
Let's go back to what you said with that. We're gonna table Jimbo. Is that what you said?
Wants to put Jimbo for the juice?
Don't know. Well,
sorry. What? Oh yeah. You can continue down the list.
Okay, we're tabling Jimbo though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the ass chief conversation, you know.
Okay. What about? Go ahead and elaborate more on McNulty.
For chief?
Yeah.
I think McNulty is very passionate about policing.
I strongly believe that you cannot have two
doesn't necessarily love
like serious.
When I say
at
administrative,
the top,
I mean
you need someone that can balance in the goof and translate it and get them.
I will say that the way he does patrol and his policing is incredible for morale, and I personally love being on duty.
Otherwise, no one's got a lot. Like the reality of the matter is, people are not going to want to join
down to
LSPD. You need someone that can like handle Conan.
In meetings,
you need someone that can handle Croc.
Behind the scenes.
You need someone that can handle like your Cornwood. You know,
chief who's like front of the line with the troops.
You put a hardliner with them, they're just going to be like
the administrative.
Gonna get fired, and that's not good for anybody.
As speaking from personal experience, when you're able to be out in the field for long periods of time with your chief and your ass chief and people from your department, it is emboldening and just it used to just make me feel a lot better about being on duty personally.
Okay. Okay. And what about Sky? The other one that was Sky, right?
Yeah, and be able to dissect a scenario between
I
a
think Sky, in
hee
my
and a
opinion,
serious
at least,
stabbing.
is
Yep.
more of a mix between McNulty and Viv in her demeanor. She's a little bit more soft-spoken, but she can be more direct if she needs to be, and I know she's not afraid to be. She's also a very strong patrol presence, likes patrolling, but I do know she's also not afraid to do administrative, get involved in the administrative side of things, and I think a lot of people respect her, especially from her shift, which, I mean, shift 3 is very different, it always has been, but she does command a lot of respect from the people that are underneath her and the people that are above her, honestly.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw like a random one at you. All right. Let's do Ruth. Did you ever work with Ruth?
She actually was the person who hired me, so yes.
Oh, okay.
I think she would be a great chief. Very, I think, lightly would be divisive figure. But in
Killer
fairness
Bob,
to her,
thank you for the 6 months, man.
the
Swag.
only people who
Thank
really
you for the
found her
7. Boosted.
divisive were people
Thank you
who
for the 10
didn't
months.
want to take accountability for the fact that they weren't doing the work that they should.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
And a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of, that's generalizing. There's too many people who don't realize that the most minute things that we do as police officers are actually the most important, and then they get surprised Pikachu face when a report gets FOIA'd and their court case ends up going down the fucking drain because they didn't do the smallest task, weeks later or weeks before. And she really, really wanted to hold people accountable for those sorts of things. And I will say she wasn't perfect. Nobody is, right? Literally nobody is. But she also basically got railroaded on her way out, which never sat well with me. I thoroughly enjoyed working with her.
Yeah, that never sat well with me either. So I feel you. I'm gonna throw you another random curveball. Right? Let's do Den Shiesty.
Chief?
Yeah, let's do Den Shiesty.
I do not think Den would make a great chief of police.
What's your reasoning?
I don't think Den is really into the administrative side of things. He's more patrol oriented.
Wow. Well.
Okay, that's your only
okay.
reason is because he's more patrol oriented.
Fucking totally, dude.
I think that if Den wanted to become chief of police, he would need to go through I'll say a metamorphosis as far as where his priorities are in his policing, and that's not a shot at him. That's just a reality of the way that he polices. But he's very strong in the field.
I like the way that she answered that.
I actually I know Den is not everyone's cup of tea. He has definitely made mistakes. He will probably continue to make mistakes. Hopefully not of a cataclysmic type. But I've always had an open dialogue with him, and what I said to you about trying to teach people how to rectify their mistakes that's a lot of the conversations that I have with him. Well, not a lot, but if he has questions or he's having trouble, I try to help as best I can.
Okay. All right. Good. I feel like I'm missing some people. Do any of you guys have somebody that I had missed?
Let me see. I don't think so. Tana.
I feel like I'm missing them.
Turna?
Turner?
Yep.
How do you feel about Turner?
I was a big fan of Captain Turner as well.
Okay.
I think a lot of people were To put it lightly, I would say scared shitless of him. That's more a demeanor thing. Every time I would approach him, try to talk to him, he was very, made it easy. But I do think some people might find him a little off-puttish, but that's just because he's extremely direct. Had very high standards for policing. Wasn't afraid to tell people if they fucked up, but he also, from what I remember, he was the type of person who he might be stern, but he will give you a avenue to correct your mistakes as opposed to just pummeling you with criticism.
All right. Brian Knight.
This fucking troll.
He's dead.
He's not.
He's dead.
He's not dead.
Just
He's
answer the
dead.
question.
He's
Just
dead.
answer the question.
Chief?
Yes.
Yes.
What's your reason?
Everything?
Tilly's such a troll.
How to say everything? What does that mean?
Your nose is a little brown. You might want to wipe that shit off real quick and re-answer.
I mean, Remember when I said earlier that I try to be as objective as humanly possible?
Uh-huh.
I might have some difficulty in that avenue because I'm trying to find the appropriate way to say this.
I mean, just say how you feel. You know, he's not gonna hear it. It's not like he's
Yeah,
gonna
because
come
he's
with us.
dead.
Such a
He's
Not
troll.
dead. He's not
He's
dead. He
literally
just
dead.
gets
He's
bad
dead.
cell reception, he said.
He's just dead. It's fine.
It's hard to be critical of someone who plucks you from obscurity and teaches you a lot of the foundations of your policing, teaches you how to be a human being almost. And then brings you to a detective agency, and then you go and you fight a war and you win. And then they get railroaded out of PD for reasons which still escape me to this day. But yeah, I think Brian would be a great chief.
Okay. All right. Good. If he hadn't have died, you know, I'm sure he would have loved that answer. But unfortunately, he did. Was there anybody that I missed?
Oh, that's
You
so
guys can
funny.
think of?
Conan Clarkson.
Oh, for fun, Lord. Okay.
No,
Slacks.
no.
Why not Slacks, Nekoda?
Slacks is a really good foot soldier. I think he's a sergeant right now. I think that's a good fit for him.
I got like one more question for you. It's kind of like off topic a little bit.
Okay.
You're going through an alley, right? It's a dark alley, okay? Right. You had gotten a call that somebody had put their SIM card in a trash can and told you whose SIM card it was, right? You open the trash can, oh my god, there's a SIM card there. What do you do with said SIM card?
Bring it back to the PD, put it in evidence, subpoena
You're
it to make
curious
sure
though.
that
You want to know what's inside of it.
I'm not a rights violator.
I like your answer. This is a good answer, there, Nekoda.
Okay. I do kind of want to spin it back to the Jimbo conversation. One thing that we spent a lot of time on this, both before the election, during the election, and afterwards, is the last thing you're going to see from our administration is sort of throwing someone into the mix and having the entirety of the LSPD kind of pick up the baggage, right? it's a lot of pressure to put on a singular individual, right? And so we've been speaking to a lot of folks, getting their opinions on things. Some of the plans that we had in place originally have been altered. I think kind of where our mind is at is that there needs to be a. You touched earlier about Bones and Cassidy building a culture up in BCSO and people wanting to go over there, and I think that's true. I think it resonates. I think you know I get the reasons for that, and LSPD is going to need similar, especially when if I were to visualize it, it's like a body that's been split in half. While one side gets repaired, BCSO, while the other one gets chewed up, whether it's the marshals or whether it's the BCSO. And so now what you got is just a disfigured husk of a body that will be in charge of 90% of calls in San Andreas. Furthermore, that LSPD will be, this is the city, Los Santos County will be your jurisdiction. Which means if Blaine County comes down here and tries to tell you what to do, you can tell them to suck a dick. I'm not saying you do that, you know, professionalism first. But, like, they're not taking, you get a drug bust down here, that's your drug bust. That goes back to Los Santos County's budget. That's going to pay the LSPD and pay the civilians that are going to be, residents of this county, right? Things, LSPD's got to be ready, right? And the question is, how do we build LSPD back up? Where we've kind of concluded, or not really, I wouldn't say concluded, but where we are thinking of things is a strong chief and a foil to that chief. For example, the reason we brought up Jimbo is, as you sort of mentioned, he's somebody that can translate the goof, but also lock it in, right? If you have Conan Clarkson doing some crazy shit, it might be the guy that you want to throw at him, you know? Now, with that in mind, what other foils do you think would fit a ass chief position? What other individuals would fit that sort of description in your mind? And let me know if you disagree with my assessment.
So you're talking about someone in the ass chief position who's a foil to the stern chief.
Correct.
I think someone like Jimbo fits that. Even to a certain extent, I think someone like, if say Viv was chief, I think McNulty would fit. It's not necessarily a foil, but it is a varied personality, I guess is the best way to put it. Like,
true. Yeah.
McNulty can be stern, but so can Jimbo. Not to the same degree, but I do think you need a broad spectrum of personality across the two positions. Again, speaking from experience, it helps immensely.
It attracts diversity, right? It encourages a diverse force.
Yeah, there is something to say about, like, I know a lot of people say, you know, mom says no, so you go ask dad, but it is nice to feel like you're not in the principal's office, I guess 24/7 is the best way to put that. So I think a Jimbo type, I would have to, like, I think I would really have to rack my brain over assistant chief foils, but I do agree that someone like that should be in the position if your vision is to have someone as chief who's the proverbial stick in the mud. But I know that's not even really what you mean, but you know, the tougher of the two.
Tougher of the two, more admin oriented. They're going to be in more meetings than on patrol. I think that's the reality of where things are likely to head.
I don't think you would go wrong if that was your aim for those two positions.
Okay. And who else would fit in that sort of ass chief? You mentioned McNulty, Jimbo. Are there others that we should have in mind?
I think it's not that there's just not a lot of people who I think right now. I don't think we have enough people who have the switch that you're looking for an assistant chief, which is why like Jimbo's the perfect person to look at. But I don't know how many Jimbos we actually have where
he's
they
not
can let it
wrong.
fly on duty and have fun, and then snap back immediately when it's necessary.
Yeah.
In LSPD, I would really have to
Could
be
you
like
do it?
hypercritical. Could I be both? Yes.
Okay. Tell me a joke. Make me laugh.
For fuck's sake.
How dark am I allowed to go here?
As dark as you want.
As dark as I want?
Yeah. I don't think you understand what's said and done in this office. I don't think you could surprise us.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was trying to spank me before he came in here. It was crazy.
Oh, all right. You ready? Why is Michael Jackson not allowed near a playground?
You really had to bring up the dead guy?
Because he's dead.
Oh. I meant, wait, that you're just gonna tell me a joke? Like, make me laugh, you know what I mean?
That was the joke.
Oh. Okay. Well, can you do anything else?
Juggle?
I'm
Jeez.
sorry? You can juggle? Okay. All right.
Like, what else are you looking for?
Well, I don't know. Just like make me laugh. You know what I mean? It's so much pressure.
Oh, look, I want to show you these reports.
Which one?
That was
This is-
also a joke.
yeah.
That was a joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look. All right, Nekoda. I appreciate. Can you fart on command?
Oh,
I cannot.
no.
Okay. You had something, Tilly?
Real quick, when we mentioned Jimbo the first time, you were a bit hesitant, right? Correct? That's correct, right?
I think for the chief, I said yes. I was hesitant, but
I know.
do
Yeah,
you think that
Nekoda's
if there's a
great.
clear definition of what you're looking for from the other position, then I think Jimbo
I think
would be
Nekoda is
good
a
fit for
great
that role.
future chief.
Why were you hesitant, though?
I think it goes back to my original idea of assuming what other people want.
But he needs more
because
cooking
sometimes
time.
You can think someone will be a good fit for the position, but they might not necessarily want.
I think in a year,
responsibility.
6 months to a year, I think it'd be a
Okay,
great
but you
chief.
don't feel as if he has qualities.
I think
that would
he
not
needs
fit,
time as a LT.
being the chief of police or the assistant chief of police.
I think that if Jimbo had that responsibility cast on him, he would reel it in and lock in as much as he needed to.
Okay.
All right.
Is he on duty often?
Jimbo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say he's on quite frequently.
All right. Very good. All right. Okay. Well, any other questions, guys?
In your department, how would you deal with an officer making negative accusations about other officers without proof?
I'd probably pull that person into a room with the other person and ask what's going on. And the unfortunate reality is if you don't have proof of any wrongdoing, you don't really have shit.
Okay. How would you deal with an officer who mocked another officer's speech?
Oh, for fucking Christ, Lord.
Really good question.
If they mock someone's speech,
Yes.
Yes.
pull them into a room, figure out why the fuck they did that, and then discipline them.
And what if
Okay.
they bent over and, hiked their
So
skirt
what if they
up?
like being disciplined that way?
What way?
You know, being disciplined in general.
What do you mean by that? Like discipline how?
Like,
Just like, what if they like punishment?
yeah, like they bent over.
Is that a question
for
or
a
a statement
pedal.
from you?
Okay, what if somebody what if you threaten to punish somebody and they said okay and then they bent over for you?
Waiting for the punishment.
I wasn't done with my questions, Tilly.
Yeah, we got a little off topic there. Sorry.
No, it's relevant. I mean, this happens in the government all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Battling?
My final question. If you found out one of your dispatchers started peeing on a department sofa
Sorry, I had to pick up my
to mark their
pencil.
territory, how would you proceed?
My
Did you say if they peed on something?
They started peeing on the department sofa, and you found out it was to mark their territory. Would you let them be, or how would you proceed?
I'd probably call Pixie and sit down and have a conversation about why someone's urinating on furniture inside of a building.
Do you feel as others do not have a right to mark their own territory?
I don't think people don't have the right. I think, where's the couch?
The
Oh,
couch
it's
is
the
in
bed.
in the break. No,
The
in the
bed.
break room. This is the no. There's no bed. This is just a hypothetical question.
Okay.
This couch would be in the police break room.
Okay, so it's in a communal break room.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, then I don't think you should be pissing on stuff that's in a communal space.
It's mark your territory. Okay, all right. So are you saying that people do not have a right to mark their own territory, huh? You shouldn't they should talk to Pixie? Is that what you're fucking saying? That they should talk to Pixie because apparently they're mentally ill if they pee on a fucking bed? Is that what you're telling me right now, Dakota?
I don't think I said all that.
Well, what were you saying then? You said you
I-
wouldn't call Pixie for what?
Just have a conversation.
Just a talk, just a conversation. Huh? Yeah, okay. All right, Dakota.
I mean, personally, I've never pissed on anything in a public space.
You know, in Amsterdam, people go down there. They go to the red light district, and they get shit faced, and they got like I think it's the Rhine or whatever. They got some kind of like flowing, like river that goes through there, and apparently people get like really shit faced and go like they see the water running and they go take a piss, but between the drunkenness and the taking a leak, like both of those things can make you lightheaded. So the combination of the two can make you pass out. So people have fallen in while pissing and gotten swept away by the current, and they'll end up dying. And so what they did was they created these urinals that are kind of like a scoop. Like they're very inviting. They got cultural designs to them, so it like fits in with the Amsterdamian culture. And you go in, it kind of loops in, and then you can take a piss in it. But you can also see through the holes in case someone comes from behind you. So
the
Were you
more-
asking something, or were you just stating that?
no, well,
No,
where I
it
was
was story time.
Yeah, it's
Tilly.
story time, exactly. So this kind of like Amsterdamian kind of thing, it's like government's got to think about where people are pissing, why they're pissing. It's crazy.
I have one
personally,
more
I
question.
usually just use the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
But
Well, that's
What
what
would
it
you
is
do?
technically. Sorry, Eve.
What would you do if an officer shows up to a meeting and they're not in their uniform? And usually they look really good in their uniform, but they're not wearing their uniform.
I would say that that person's probably fiscally conservative and doesn't want to be draining the state account while they're having a meeting that is not directly related with other police officers.
Sounds very selfish.
Actually, the opposite.
No, it's very selfish.
Have you ever had an affair while employed at the LSPD?
No.
What about a
Andrew?
romantic relationship?
What?
What about a romantic relationship?
Have I ever had a romantic relationship at the LSPD? No.
What if there was a, you know, a new employee at the PD, like new officer, and you had to FTO her, and you know you were kind of digging her. Would you ever ask her out?
I'd probably wait until they were a full officer.
And why is that?
Pretty bad look to be trying to ask someone you're FTOing out on a date.
Okay. So now she's a full officer. Would you do it?
Depends on the person.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you're into her. What do you mean depends on the person?
If you're that into her, I mean, yeah, I guess. Why not?
Okay. All right.
As long as you're not a fucking creep, right?
Yeah. But not if it was a cadet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if she was a cadet.
Was that a yes if she's a cadet?
No. I said yes if they're a full officer, no if they're a cadet.
Okay. So what if you were FTOing and she sat on your lap?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Ask her to get up.
And then she doesn't.
Call HR and tell them that I'm about to pick up a female cadet out of my lap.
So you would pick her up.
If I asked her to move and she refused, yes, I would physically remove her from my
Okay.
lap.
All right. Okay.
What if she liked the way it felt in your arms?
I truly don't know.
All right. What if every night she asked that you go to her place or to your place? She's like, "Where's your house? Let's go to your house."
How would I feel if we were always going to one person's house?
No, you're getting off duty and she's like, "Okay, great. Let's go to your house."
Do I have a problem with that?
Yeah. What would you do? She's asked the question. Let's go to your house. We're getting off duty. Mind you, she's been sitting on your lap.
What's their rank?
Cadet.
Yeah, no.
Applicant.
Yeah, definitely no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And
What's the
now
power
let's
dynamic
say
there?
every single day you're getting this question asked.
Okay.
Same thing?
Are they still not a full officer?
Nope.
Yeah, no.
What if,
Why are you judging this person by their rank?
Yeah.
What if they're a nice person outside of their rank?
Yeah.
Things inside the workplace
And
can get
attractive.
hectic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming it would be they would be attractive if I would be
Very
hypothetically into them, right?
Incredibly attractive.
So attractive.
Eve, stop.
Now, what if they were driving and, like, you get out of the vehicle to go to your house because you don't want to, show them where your house is at this stage because they've been asking for weeks.
I'm hiding where I'm living.
Yeah. Would you now you get out of the car and you're trying to, and then all of a sudden they're like following you and chasing you down throughout the city while you're on foot, and then you manage to get away, and as you're making away, you get a phone call saying, "Don't get on that bike."
Wait, what?
In other words, you lost them. You don't know where they are, but you got a phone call now, and they see that you're about to get on a bike to get to your house.
Is your question what would I do?
Hypothetically, yeah.
Sounds like you should get on the bike and then highway blast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys?
I say you were chief of police, right? Say you got the position of chief of police, and one day you're at your desk. It's a quiet day, nobody's in the office, and in comes a beautiful, gorgeous French girl with blonde hair, and in a little French accent. She's sexy. She's wearing really high socks, like
Yeah.
stockings, right? A short little skirt. She's looking good. She's
And
looking nice.
freckles.
Okay, and shut the fuck- and freckles. And freckles. She's a beautiful, gorgeous girl. Right, right, right. You come into your office and she's sitting on the desk waiting for you. You come in, what can I say? You got a little a nudge in your pudge, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Would you fuck her in the office, Nekoda?
No.
Why not?
Why the hesitation? Why the hesitation?
I feel like a lot of these are very specific questions.
Well,
Just answer the
Wildly
question.
yeah,
specific.
these are things that happen in the government,
It wasn't happening in the police department?
I mean, it probably happens there too. I mean, it's part of the government.
Just answer the question, Nekoda.
Would I have sex with a French woman in my office if no one else was around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably only last like a minute, but would you do it?
Personally, probably not.
Okay. It's because you have morals and standards, and you're a high value man, correct?
Personally, I just don't like to be a hypocrite.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm. So you're
So-
saying you wouldn't have sex with a gorgeous woman that wants to have sex with you in an office privately?
If I was at work, no.
Okay.
Huh.
Why?
Yeah, why?
I have a pretty strong belief in, when you're working, and when you're off the clock, you.
Yeah, but what if it's break time?
Is that
What
a
if she's
thing?
bent over in front of you? She's just,
Yeah.
she's looking good. She's just, she's consenting to it, right?
Mm.
Well, I hope she was.
Yeah.
But she's French, so she
I made it
doesn't
weird when I
shave
said
down
yeah.
there.
but-
Keep that in mind.
And she's
And she's
screaming,
French.
I want you to 13 alpha this.
What is he planning to have a heart attack?
I mean, it's not in your SOPs, right?
Does it have to be?
Yeah. She's like, call dispatch 1037s.
Medicoggers,
Wait,
medicoggers,
so now he has
medicoggers.
to fuck her with multiple people, Nino?
No, 37. Isn't 37 shots fired?
You should know those.
No, 71s.
Oh, 71. Okay.
37 is suspicious activity.
Oh.
well, that works too, to be honest.
I know that you're a high value man and that you think highly of yourself and you would never stoop so low to have sex with a French girl in the office, no matter how attractive you are. And I respect that in you, Nekoda. I respect that in you. Because some men just can't fucking handle it. Some men just can't keep it in their fucking pants, Nekoda. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some men, they just can't fucking do it. They just can't fucking
Yeah.
do it. They see a beautiful girl in their office, and what do? They bend her over the desk.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
what's up.
Mhm.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I
Mm.
try not to cast too much judgment on
Yeah.
how other people conduct themselves in the workplace.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You're a lot stronger than me.
Any other questions for Nekoda? All right.
I don't really have any. I mean, pretty thorough.
I think he solved a lot of issues today, maybe, or made it worse. Hypothetically, of course.
Wait, I got one. Nekoda, are you married?
No.
All right.
I'm not married.
Aw. You're kind of cute. I was just wondering.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Nekoda.
Yeah,
And
thank you for having me. This
yeah.
was a very illuminating experience.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
And hey, we're working on a ton of legislation. We've been asking everybody if there's things that you come across, legislation that either doesn't make sense, isn't good for the public, doesn't have enough clarity, and you think it could. If there's new pieces of legislation that need to be filled, please do get in contact with Abby, and she will put it on a list of things to look through. Unless you're looking to, write it up yourself, we can also review it as well. So
Yeah, Abby, you should give him your number before he leaves.
Yeah, of course. I think I have Nekodas. To be honest with you.
Yeah, from the FOIA the other day.
all right, fantastic.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
All right, you take
Thank
care.
you.
Hey, Nekoda,
Appreciate
could you just pop yourself in the lemon list for 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Do you do drugs?
He's an officer.
Do I do drugs? No,
No,
I
not
drink.
like smoke. I mean, been involved in like drug cases.
At the current moment, most of my policing is either trying to go to calls out on patrol and command stuff.
Okay.
So I haven't really had a
Do-
lot of time to.
Do you think you can suss out how much a joint weighs and how much the baggies that are used to make joints weigh? We're getting legislation passed. We want to make sure we get the right information.
I believe the last time I weighed a joint out, it had 1 gram of marijuana in it.
Yeah.
Was when the weigh went out, and then I think for some reason the weight of the paper was all off. It was like way too heavy.
Yeah. So we're understanding that it's 1 gram per joint, and it's a 1 gram bags that create either 1 or 2 joints. And we want to know the specifics because the legislation is going to be written away where a joint and a weed baggie is in its definition going to have a top limit weight, right? So
Okay.
if the weight limits get higher, it would fall outside the scope of the definition, thus invalidating the legality of it. But we want to make sure we got our numbers right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely double check
So-
to see when the most recent arrests have been where people have had marijuana and what the weight distribution looks like.
Easy. Yeah. So the questions are: how much does the joint weigh? How much does the bag weigh? And how many joints can you make from a bag? So we've asked 2 other parties, but we're kind of like consolidating to ensure that no one's off.
Okay. Yeah, I can look into it.
All right. Thank
I
you
can
very
actually
much.
look into it though.
All right.
Thank
Easy.
you.
Thank you.
And then just
Thank
call
you.
Abilene when you get
Not the
the info.
bystandard.
Move.
Yeah, call me anytime.
Why can't I sit down?
Okay. I'll see everybody later. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
There we go.
Bye.
Okay, I